Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Today, in episode 165, I'm very happy to bring back my friend Elsa Dillon. Elsa Dillon is the mother of 8 children with husband Richard Dillon, and they are a family of 10 experiencers who live on a farm in Byron Bay Hills, Australia. Both Elsa and Richard are international fashion photographers and videographers, shooting celebrities and behind-the-scenes professionals for magazines and advertising for over 3 decades. This is the Dillons' second incarnation here on Gaia. They are a family of oversouls, all called in together again to incarnate in this realm. They have experienced over 600 beings to date in many forms and multidimensional realms. With their oversoul connections, they receive messages and happenings with the paranormal. To find out more about my guest, all of the links are featured below in the description. Do check us out, subscribe to our channels, leave us some comments, and like our videos. Today, we're going to talk more about the truths we experienced and bust open some of the myths about ET. Be sure to share this fascinating discussion with your friends. Welcome, Elsa. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. How you doing?
Hi, Karen. So nice to see you. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, my pleasure. We have so much to talk about. We could do a show every week, I'm sure. So I'm just thrilled that you've come back and we get to talk about more things. So just to sort of set the stage and as a jumping off point, there's a lot of information out there. It's like almost every second person you run into has had ET experiences or they've seen UFOs, and it's really hard to sort of wade through all of the experiences, and some of them are more hard to believe than others. But I come from a place where I don't want to discount anybody's experience because my experience is unbelievable in itself. And I have no proof. Most of us do not have proof, especially if we make contact through interdimensional or transdimensional experiences. But I think there is a problem where there's a lot of mythology out there, and a lot of people are just claiming to have experienced what they've heard from other people. And it's almost like error builds upon error builds upon error. And pretty soon we don't know who to believe or what to believe or what we should take as accurate information. And then the other part to this is there are a lot of UFO cults and a lot of people who are amassing followers in a very cult-like fashion. So I thought we could just get into all of those things today, Elsa. And so I also wanted to just start with my own experience being what I call interdimensional or transdimensional. And I was talking to Chris Matthew recently, and he said that he has transdimensional experiences too. But how he knows it's a different realm is he can't physically bring anything back with him. So I was thinking what I want to start practicing is when I'm in a transdimensional state, I want to pick up a pebble or a flower or something and stick it in my pocket and see if I can bring it back with me because the experiences are so very real. But I just wondered what's your take because I know you have all kinds of your own experiences, Elsa, and I sure don't want to speak for you.
Well, this is really interesting, like going in with a plan. Now this is okay, so you have the ascension process, then you have the dark night of the soul. So you go through all this and then you go through it all over again, and then you might have some illness or death or personal crisis, which we all seem to have had. And then you go through another layer, and it sort of starts to become less confusing, but more confusing in other ways. And then you start to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a great stage to be at because now you're going, okay, that's all great. that was all fun. Thanks for putting me through all that. Let's see where we can go to another level on this. So now instead of it just being an reaction with us, now you're interacting. So you gave me the message before about star beings, and star beings are tar beings, and tar beings are us, star seed, plasma seeds from comets, and this is what Earth is as well. She's the same being, and we just keep getting layered and layered and layers and layers. So this is where we get the word tata from, which is what happened to my mouth, why I started losing all my teeth, which started me becoming on social media. So it's so funny how it goes around in circles. So they show me all the time that where they show us like where a hull or a ship or a crust, and the crust gets another layer of crust on it, and it just keeps building. So we were it's like you've got to take off all the crusts that were put on us, go back to the raw seed, which feels really naked. And then now we're rebuilding ourselves, and this is what you're doing. And so now you're saying, okay, let's put this layer on. And so now you're actually having a mission. So you're going back in with a mission. And this is how it happened for me in around 2014, 2015, when I started to go, okay, let's do regress. I don't want it just to be random, because it catches me out all the time, and I'm completely a scatterbrain when I would have interactions, like Chris was saying. And so every time I would have something happen with the other realm, it would happen while I was doing something, and I just wasn't ready for it. So I went, okay, well, let's now go, and I make like an appointment. So I go and do a regress, which is just with myself. It was very simple. It was only 15 minutes or 5 minutes. I can't really remember what the time is, but it's only a short space of time. And then I would come back with a piece of knowledge or an activity that was done, and then now it actualizes. So it's an interaction. It's not just a reaction. So,
Yes.
so this is the act ta, the star being doing the thing. And military know about all this because they got remote viewers. They train people to do this, so they're fully aware. So somewhere along the line, they've got information that the general public do not know, which is coming out obviously. But so there's levels of military training in this as well, and I'm sure ETs have trained a lot of military to do some of these things as well. This bringing a piece back in our family. The oldest oversoul, or second oldest, is Jerry. She is the one that has the longest hair, and she's not Pleiadian, but they really like her. They just really are around her all the time. She's the one that sounds so profound when she speaks, and she's the one that's most pulled back from everything. She's detached. She never seems like, if we're in a car accident, she's relaxed and calm. She's not. It's just a matter of fact. It's a matter of fact. She's a great healer. And she is the one that only one that we know of, has had something come into this realm from the other. She was in her room, and the other realm came through she was in that realm, then she returned or something, and then they came with her and put a box on her table, and she saw it fall, and she heard the noise of it falling on the ground and rolling off. And this is the first time. It was like a little cube, like a jewelry box. So it was a gift. So they did something that they knew would catch her attention, that a little girl would like, but also had a lot of meaning as well. And this is the only, and in our experiences, this is the only one that I can say was a piece. So it's a possible, right? It's a real
Mhm.
possible.
I think so. Like I've had lots of experiences where when I'm in a trance or multidimensional experience where I'm given a spontaneous knowing, but I don't really know much about it. And then I will go to the internet and do search on the word to find out what it means and to get the understanding that was delivered within the word. And so that happens quite often. Even the word transdimensional came to me in the middle of my sleep, and I went and looked it up in the morning, and here it was exactly describing my experience. And so I was able to, because I'm working on a book, I was able to use that term more accurately to help describe my experiences. So there's that. There's the teachings that I receive while I'm there, or which is sort of here, but in a different dimensional reality, and spontaneous knowings and downloads. But often in the ET and UFO community, there's a bit of a split between the what they call the nuts and bolts believers and the more spiritual believers. And the nuts and bolts, they want to see proof. Let's see proof. You know, if you had this experience, where's the pictures and where's the proof? Well, I don't have that kind of proof. But people with spiritual eyes and spiritual awareness, they can tell by the frequency of what I'm saying whether it rings true or not for them. But I'm going to experiment because I do a lot of lucid dreaming, and I'm going to experiment and see if I can bring something back with me. There is a phenomenon called apports, where often people will be out for a walk and there'll be a big crystal sitting there just waiting for them that they know they're supposed to pick it up, or they'll lose something and it'll turn up in the most strange of places. Things get moved around. So, so I don't think it's too big a thing to ask. So I'm just going to experiment with it and see. What were you going to say, Elsa?
Oh, I didn't know. Well, see, this is what happens. I meet people like yourself, and then there's actually a term for things that have happened for us. So you
Yeah.
said this whole thing with the crystals. So our little girls, okay, so this is amazing. So the little girls, the three youngest, can swim underwater and they hear sirens. We call them sirens. They don't like to be called mermaids, not the ones around us anyway. And they call them sirens because they're calling, and
Hmm.
they'll show the girls where crystals are under the water, and they come up with like rainbow opals and
Wow.
uh, citrate. They've come up with these rare rocks that have water trapped in them, which is great intelligence because this water, yeah, how do you know it's not from up there? Because it's older than the dinosaurs. We're talking really old intelligence in this water. The
Hmm.
the other one, this is interesting. The little girl, just before we shifted, so at our old farm, the little girls came back from being out in the paddocks. It's like 200 acres, and they said there's giant footsteps. And I went, what? And they said there's giant footsteps. And I said, well, how big's giant to you? So they drew it on a piece of paper. It was like about this big. They said there's footprints all through this area, and this area is not walked by anyone. We're probably 20 years. Anyway, so I go back out with them, and I go, wow, and I could clearly see six. And I instantly had this feeling come over me. You should do a spin here. So and it always seems to be near water as well. So I went and did my 33 spins and said a few nice words and said thank you for showing me the footprint. And I look down and there's this rock with a trapped water line in it, like this. And it goes. It's a citrite, I think it was, and so it was amazing yellow, but it was huge. And I don't usually find them like the girls do, and it was right at my toes, like right at my feet, facing
Mm-hmm.
north. But I didn't kick it out the way when I was spinning or anything. It was weird. And I picked it up, I brought it back home, and we held a torch on it. And I've still got pictures of this. I can send to you. The picture of in the stone when you hold a light to it is a pharaoh sitting up, awaking, with a pyramid behind, and then the level waterline is like the tomb.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, this is what we're all doing. We're all arising. We're all waking. The pharaohs within us
Mm-hmm.
are waking, and these larger beings brought this stone to my feet. Now, I didn't know this whole stone thing was a thing, but apparently in the US, there's the blue marbles where they leave blue marbles. The
Mm-hmm.
kids have had that as well with the blue marbles. But because we didn't know, we just like the kids like, oh yeah, I find blue marbles everywhere. But why would a blue marble be right out in the middle of these forests, like with no one where no one goes? Like, how
Yep.
did it get there? That's what we want. So I actually, I'm very appreciative because you said there's a word for this. So now I know there's a word for it. So this is a thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's called apports. For those of you who are listening on audio, it's spelled Apports. And it can also be slag or metal, sort of looks like molten. Well, it's solidified when you find it, but it looks like it was molten metal. And it sometimes gets thrown out of the UFOs. And so, and sometimes if you have it analyzed, it's exotic materials. And we're not sure why that happens. And hopefully we never get hit in the head with any, but that's really common as well. So apports are very, very real things. Lots of people talking about them. So that's sort of another sort of physical proof aspect of the paranormal. Um, but what concerns me about a lot of the people who come across as experts is, I'm just sort of shifting the topic a little bit here, is that they claim to be the only spokesperson for a particular extraterrestrial group. And often their words and the way they talk and the authority that they present, it's a bit like the Pope in the Catholic Church being the only one who has access to God. Well, if you're Anglican, then it's the Queen or the King are the only ones who are the spokesperson for God. And that always makes me a little nervous. In my extraterrestrial experiences, I've been told that I can speak to my experiences as much as I want, but I in no way represent the beings that I've interacted with. And I don't feel that I really could speak for them because they are so advanced that it's very difficult for us even to wrap our heads around what they're truly about, what their motives are, what their intentions are. I mean, we can pick up whether it's sort of benevolent or malevolent, but it's difficult to actually be in a position to speak. But there are quite a lot of people who claim that they speak for this group or that group, and that always makes me a little bit nervous. I'm wondering what your thoughts are about that, Elsa.
Well, the Ten Commandments, which I don't follow religion, but they take me back to um, uh, words or anchors or memories of others to help me to understand then, or then from then to now. Ten Commandments, they showed me to go back to the origin words of all the words used in the Ten Commandments that we see before us now. And one of it's actually beautiful words. It's really beautiful the way, or how they ask, and they are what the Ten Commandments is asking us to have a better lifestyle, basically. Do unto others as you do to yourself, but there is no God above the other. So if you're elevating somebody to a godlike status, this is what they warned us about. It's part of the cloning. It's you're copying. And creation is not about this. Creation is about creating from source, which is you. So if you're creating from someone else's source, this is where it gets out of control. It literally becomes out of control. And this is where this word, like you said, this cult-like behavior, because you're handing it over. And this is what we're unfolding with the 3D world that we've been programmed, is this, you admit yourself to hospital, you leave a will, even on our deathbed. So we're handing over. What are we handing over all the time? Why are we handing over? You don't, when you come here, you don't do this. These are programs, so we need to stop handing over and come back in here, come back to the naked us, and start forming our own crust and our own truths and our own laws, and doing what feels right for ourselves, and coming back to the feeling of it. And this is being told that we shouldn't do this either because you're too sensitive. So they've literally been asking us all the way along to turn off our senses. And now you have a look at all the devices that we have now. What do? They just distract you and turn you off. And why? Why do they want to do this? We have to question. If you, like you said, you love questioning things. Karen, you said that you wake with questions. This is great, because that's your will. That's the seed's force of life. This is what is that is pure creation. That wanting to know, but also being humble enough to say, I don't know, but I'm wanting to know. And that's not saying, Karen coming on and saying, well, I know this and I know that, so that's how it is, Elsa. There's a different feeling to those words, right? As soon as I even hear myself say it, it sounds wrong. It sounds wrong for me anyway. It just, when you say that ring to it, it doesn't have a nice ring to it, because it feels conditional. And this is how we've taught our family. Does it feel conditional or unconditional? When someone sends you a gift or asks you to do something or speaks to you or shares something with you, does it have a condition attached? Like, do they expect an outcome? Because then that has a different ring.
Yep, I would agree with you. It's interesting too, perspective, because I always had so many questions and still do. Often I tend to default to thinking that I'm not very intelligent because everybody else seems satisfied or seems to get it. Why is it that I don't get it? But so many things just seem at odds, seem odd to me, and I want to know, why is this? Why is that? And but then I actually found out that to question is actually a mark of intelligence. And here I thought it was because I was dumb, or not very intelligent, that I wasn't getting all this. But what I am is I'm actually getting it and seeing the inconsistencies and incongruencies. And I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the world, for sure, not at all. I make so many mistakes. Of course, I learn a lot from them, but I always question. I was telling you before the show, I love to delve into ancient archaeology and before the flood, settlements and monolithic temples and all these things. And they've always been calling them temples. And I've always, when I'm watching the shows, I go, no, they're not temples, they're technology. And then I was so excited in about the last month, watching, everybody from Billy Carson, to a whole bunch of different people. They're now going, no, these are technologies. And I'm going, yes, that's what I've been saying. They're technologies. And so it's very, very interesting. But um, I think it's important to stay humble, and not a false sense of humility either, to really admit that, we know what we know, but there's so much that we don't know. And there again, getting back to other people's experiences, because of that, I would never tell anybody that I don't believe their experience that they're sharing. And at the same time, I wouldn't expect other people to necessarily believe what I experience. I encourage people to have their own experiences. So what happens is when someone presents themselves as the grand poobah of this or that star system or extraterrestrial race or whatever, what happens is they're no longer open to their inside internal guidance. So I know you know what I'm talking about, Elsa. We have an internal guidance system. And a little bit more on this whole crusting thing. Our pineal glands get crusted over and calcified. And that's why detoxification, nutrition, all of that is a part of the awakening and the ascension process. But if we're constantly going to external experts, quote, experts, right? And we want them to tell us what to do, what to believe, how it is for ET, we're completely missing out on this amazing ability that we all have. It's a God-given ability to project our consciousness into other realms and to understand other things. And they've done that for thousands and thousands of years in Aboriginal communities, and which I think is partly why they were so vehemently destroyed and subjugated and imperialized. But I think it's important to leave room for us to go inside and to give ourselves the chance to have our own experiences. So I don't know, what do you think about that, Elsa?
Well, this word mistake is it's a word that I've used a lot, and through all everything I learnt as a photographer, this is how I taught myself. So I would have professional photographers, because it was a very masculine industry, and I would always have them saying, "You're not doing it correct. That's not the correct technique." I said, "Okay, that's great, but I'm shooting for magazines around the world. I'm getting covers, but that's not the correct technique." I mean, but it looks beautiful. But this is how you should be doing it. So that continually through my career, I had training to overcome this set way. That's great, but it was through my errors that I learnt new techniques. And this comes back to what you were saying is you add another layer and you add another layer, another version of Karen. You wake up the next day, another version of Karen, another version of Karen. And mistake is the origin of it is to change fast. And change fast as an electrical being. So it's the to and the fro. So you're changing, you're taking, you're giving, you're taking, you're giving, you're taking, you're giving. And it's being okay with the mistakes too. But not holding the mistakes. So not anchoring yourself. So going, that was a mistake. Thank you. I'm sorry. If I'm upset anyone, thank you. I'm sorry. Move on. Next mistake. So then we learn, and this is so we're learning from a truth. We're not learning from another's. We're not learning from someone else's sense. We're learning from our own sense. which makes sense.
It sure does. Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful Orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's Orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When Orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into Orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates Orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of Orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, and it's interesting because all these languages, and then taking it through with archaeology, mythology, and then connecting it with the ETs, it's all seems to be coming back to the core of us, why we're here, who we are, what's our purpose, and it would be so nice if someone said, this is how you do it, this is what you got to do, and this is the neat package, here's your book, off you go. But it's not like that. And I think this is why the programs in 3D have worked so well, because that's what they do. And then you become complacent. So complacent is, I'm going to put you in a cupboard over there. Mm-hmm. So you're not mistaking, because someone's doing it all for you. They're learning the mistakes. They're keeping the information. You stay over there in complacement. Mm-hmm. And this word, the intelligence, is the intel is in us, in the gene, intel gene. So you're saying these words and I'm going, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. It truly is amazing. It really is amazing, because it just so easily cancels out everything that I've been taught through my life. It just wipes, it's like a mud flood. It just wipes it clean and goes, okay, go from here. Mm-hmm. And you're confirming it in your stories, because they're coming from your truth. And it feels true. And all I want to do is hear more and more and more from you, because it feels good, which is a sense. And this is where people have to come back into it, rather than wearing someone else's.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I know a lot of people have these transcendent experiences, and then they write a book or they write it down, and it's like they want to freeze their experience in time by putting it into words, and then other people pick up those words, and it's like other people, they want other people to have the same experience, and I think that's at the basis of a lot of religion, why there's so many different religions. But instead, if we can have our own experiences, our own transcendent experiences, I think that's what life's all about. I also wanted to say something about the mistakes. I view a mistake as being as if you were an actor and you're on the set and they go, take two, and then you do it, but you fluff your words or you forget your lines, and then you got to do it again. So it's take three and take four. And that's what a mistake is. It's a take that wasn't exactly what we were aiming for, but we try again until we get it right. And then it's a take, not a mistake. And that helped me a lot to see it that way so that I wasn't feeling down on myself and I wasn't feeling guilt or remorse or feeling like I was stupid that I wasn't doing it right, because I've always been kind of hard on myself. And so that's the thing. But again, I thank you, by the way, for your kind words, Elsa. You're a very kind person. You're very inspirational, and you always say things that make me feel good. Thank you so much for that. But so just getting back to it, I want people to have their own experiences, and but it just seems easier, or maybe the lazy way, to just go, okay, I'm going to believe this person is representing this group, and I'm just going to listen to what they have to say, and I'm going to believe everything they have to say, and then I become an expert on them and their way of doing it. And I just think so much is lost through that. Now, there's nothing wrong with um, seeing truth in what other people are saying. I do that. Everybody does that. But when it comes to our own personal truth, and then a lot of people are, and they've got millions of subscribers and millions of views, and they're making all this money doing it. And I don't know, it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that somehow I'm not convinced. Basically, what I see is our world rewards compliance, and our world rewards mainstream and certain topics. Meanwhile, other people who are speaking their truth, maybe quietly and or not quietly, but trying to get it out there, they're getting their shows taken down from YouTube. They're getting their channels eliminated. They're not getting the views that they need in order to have channel memberships, things like that. And it's just interesting that the world seems to reward that which is not as authentic, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. It's just sort of an observation I have when it comes to these mass followings. And I get people saying, oh, Karen, have you heard about this person? And here, I'll send you links. And I'm not interested at all because I have my own rich extraterrestrial UFO and spiritual life that it's my life is already full. I don't really have room. I'm not saying those people aren't having those experiences. It's just that I'm having my own, and they're authentic and they're my truth. And why would I want to give that up for an external belief system, I guess?
So this is the vision I have is so you get that message to do someone else's thing, listen to someone else's thing, but it just doesn't have a ring. It doesn't even excite you, right? But then you go
Yeah.
within Karen, you open these big doors, and there's all these walls of scrolls and scrolls of information. You go, where am I going to put that stuff? I don't really want that stuff anyway. I'm going to be throwing that out. I like all this stuff up here. like, and you got bats flying around and cobwebs, and this is this information is in us. This is carried in us, and I too like others for inspiration, and I like coming together with others that do inspire, like yourself, and we sort of play together a little bit or spin together, and it inspires. So that means I'm a being throwing out a spear. So another being throws out a spear, and it's like casting. So you go, oh wow, that's interesting. Like I didn't know that these terms that things that have been happening to us have terms or names, or is it a common knowledge? And so now I've been enlightened by words that you've shared with me today. So now it's not just crazy mum, it's actually a thing. It's got a word.
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
did you just give me something from another realm to put with my realm of my memory? And I go, oh, so I just added another little bit of a crust to it. And so we keep layering. I don't anchor there. My whole world isn't back at that moment, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, we just go, oh, oh. And that's what I also find is with a lot of people that are on this layering and building from themselves, they're really light. They're really light. They don't, when they talk about light beings, I don't think they mean it like what they were saying. They're really easy to talk to. It's light, it's easy. Um, I don't feel like I'm banging into any walls when I'm talking to them. It just sort of it just keeps flowing,
Mm-hmm.
and so that to me shows me I'm on the right path when I'm talking to that person. It just flows, it's easy. But when you feel this stop, 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 why? That's when I go, oh, why am I being paused here? Am I? Is it them? Is it me? Am I supposed to pick up something on me? And so this is how uh, I guess I use the tools of um, memories with myself and memories with others coming together, and you share. This is what the word myth is mouth truth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the mouth's the tail. So it's the mouth speaking. It's the mouth sharing. And the tail is our spine.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have a tale to tell, a tale to share. A tell is also classed as an obelisk or a pillar in the ancients, a marking. That's all it is. It's a marking, a memory.
Mm-hmm.
You can't live in there because that's a story for that's the Bible. It's a moment to share, to learn from, to build your crust from. And so this 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 topic today, myth and truth. Um, uh, the word law, which there's law, L-A-W, and then there's L-O-R-E, and L-O-R-E is more the cosmos law.
Mm-hmm.
L-A-W is the programmed, it has a shape given to you and you fill in that law, whereas this one over here, there is none. There is no outlined. It's completely free. It's space. It's just free for us to create in. So all these myths and truths are there. So you go in and find if it feels good to you, and then you build from that from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is all the clues, all the ancient scripts, all the messages that you love reading and researching is because you're looking for the truth and the law back then
Mm-hmm.
to bring forward to now. So when you are saying bringing things through to this realm, I think you're already doing it. I really do. You sound like you're already doing it a lot. It's cool, right?
It is. Well, it is because I can't live anybody else's life. I can only live my own. And I just go where I go. Like I have this natural curiosity that just takes me to places. But at the same time, I don't expect other people to adopt my truth. My truth is my truth, and they have their truth. And again, getting back to the overwhelming amount of information out there, who to believe, who not to believe, it can be a bit overwhelming. So I wanted to ask you another question. I think we still have time. And that is, people have described their personal experiences with so many different kinds of ETs. I've never experienced the local kind. I've never experienced the reptilians and the grays. Well, I have had experiences with grays, but not in a very physical, three-dimensional form. Um, I've never had experiences with all these different kinds of beings. And if you look at some of the charts and some of the programs out there, there's hundreds of different kinds of grays. So that, they're from different stars or different star clusters within specific galaxies. They're from different planets. There's so many kinds. What I don't understand is how do they keep from bumping into each other and pissing each other off, to put it bluntly, if there's that many beings, because it's hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of reptilians, of different kinds of grays. If everybody's having this experience, and I'm talking about if they're having these experiences in the three-dimensional reality where they can reach out and touch the being, knock on the side door of the ship, or, the physical aspect. I can understand it if it's in the trans-dimensional realms, because that's very complex. But in the three-dimensional, if there's that many beings, and then there's supposed to be all kinds of beings that are actually been here on Earth for thousands of years. Some are living underground, some are living under the bases of mountains, some are living deep down under the ocean, some are in lakes. How is it that they're not crashing into each other with their spaceships? And how come they're not, what I'm trying to say? If there's that many, how is it that they're able to be somehow organized in our realm and to remain as elusive as they have? I don't know if you have any thoughts about this, Elsa. I know it's a pretty big question, but it's just something, again, that I wonder about.
So, the way I describe a lot of things is very childlike because I haven't been around the social spiritual groups. I've only been around for a short space of time, so the terminologies are like being presented to me. But the way I can describe this is Dr. Seuss with Horton, and he has a flower and there's a speck on the flower. And there's a whole world in that speck, and he can hear them. So there's that side. Then you got all the side, because we think everyone's our size. But you see, we call them the sleepers, and you look out over the horizon and you see that we call the land of the giants. And you can see them. They're sleeping. The hills are sleeping. They're giants. You can see their faces. They're sleeping. They're just there. Have they gone to sleep, or are they waiting to wake? Maybe. But they're definitely. You can see shapes. You can see the rocks. You can see faces. There's all different shapes and sizes. And once we get over so this is space and time now. So you got truth and myth, then you have space and time. Space and time, both those two are made up by or the program or whoever's watching us. Space and time is made up. Counting is also made up by the same ones. Why? With these things you can control. with religion and language, you can control.
Mm-hmm.
With programs on TV, you can control. Once you say, I don't need that, I'm going to go back to Karen and open that big door with all the scrolls in there and go there, because that feels, I feel much more happier at that place than over there. That just like fragments and falls apart and just becomes a mess, and it actually doesn't make sense anymore, whereas this here makes sense. And this is when, so I'm talking about how many beings there are. You only have to lie back on the ground and look up at the stars, and this is how I explain it to the kids. Start staring, and then you stare, and then your eyes adjust and adjust and adjust, and you can then actually see further and further,
Mm-hmm.
and there's more, and there's more, and there's more. And I think, so when the kids say, well, so the kids, the Gigi alone has drawn over 500 different species.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one is unique. Jeannie's up to, I don't know, 400. So each child, as of the 4 drawers, have drawn so many, and they have no question that there's just more different ones coming as well. There's lots and lots and
Mm-hmm.
lots and lots, and it's because of looking up the stars and the humility of looking up at the stars and seeing how small we are in there, but
Mm-hmm.
how necessary we are in there as well. And there's so many. So when someone says, look, our kids are coming into all this social media after we've just been doing it, you know, in our family. So we're just doing it. Then we come in social media, and then they say, oh, this one's got a name. And then they say, oh, this is what they're like. This is what these beings do. This is who they are. This person speaks to them, and he's the only one that speaks to them. And then the kids say, well, we've drawn someone similar to that, but how are they talking to us if he only talks to that one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then it starts to unfold, because so then our children are seeing their truths and the truths of that one, and so they become less interested because the ring feels like it has a condition to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas they're just drawing the being and saying this is who the being is. It's not the whole race, it's not the whole species, it's just one that has presented to that person, that child, or that drawer, or that experiencer. But this person over here is saying, I'm the only one.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you hear that, you go, oh, there it is. They've just turned the button. So I'm more attracted to the openness of an experiencer who has more questions, like yourself, rather than I'm the only one, because I don't feel that this is creation. So it doesn't feel like a law, it doesn't feel like truth. It doesn't even feel like a myth. It feels like a rule. It feels a little sometimes boring when I hear stuff, because I just go, oh, really? Isn't that how the whole school program? Like our kids, a couple of them liked going to school, so we allowed those ones to go to school. And the teachers would ring and say, we've had to fail them on the assignment again because their information wasn't sourced from a government approved source.
Oh.
So we've had to fail them on the assignment, but we just wanted to ring and let you know that it's one of the best assignments we've seen. We love your children, but we have to follow the code of conduct of the school, and we've had to fail them. I say, I don't care. I know it's a good, before the project even left the home, I knew it was a good project. We felt
Mm-hmm.
good. It was unconditional. We didn't care whether the grade is an A, B, C, D, E, F. It doesn't matter. We enjoyed doing the project together and sharing it with you. We don't care about the outcome. But
Mm-hmm.
they'll fail this year. I don't care. I really don't care. And but and so this cult behavior, where does this come from? Why do you need to control?
Mm-hmm. That's it. It's about control. And who wants to control the minds, the thoughts, and the spirituality of other people? I don't get that. I'm not a religious person. I spent many years going to many different religions, but I got to the point where I went, I just can't do this anymore. It's holding me back. And trust that I could figure things out and have my own spiritual experiences and not have to follow the dogma. And well, there's so many churches, and if you don't like the teaching in one, you can go across the street and get what you want that way. But it's all about social control, and so much in this world seems to be about social control. So, if I'm going to liberate myself spiritually and um, in every other way so that I can have my own extraterrestrial and UFO experiences, I'm sure not going to go back in the box because it's unpopular. I'm not going to do that. No way. The other thing is the cults are very real. My friend Ryder Lee, he has a channel called Raised by Giants, and he last year did a whole series of UFO cults. And they are dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. And they suck people in by convincing them that they're the only one who speaks for this particular race of ETs, and this is what they have to do if they want to be transported to a new world or whatever. And thousands of people have died. And another thing that a lot of them do is they preach the gospel of gender neutrality. I'm not going to get into gender politics here, but they even have the men castrate themselves, and everyone has to be celibate, and they're not allowed to eat, and some of them aren't allowed to sleep. Like, they're really scary. In some of these cults, they have had mass suicides. Like, they're really scary. And it's like, I don't think anyone wakes up in the morning and says, oh, I'm going to join a cult. But if people start following one person who says they're the exclusive spokesperson for this particular ET group, and it's the only way that you can have the kind of life that you want, there's, to me, huge red flags. And I don't want anybody to be captured. I myself have been captured by different fundamentalist religions, and I am so grateful to be free. So, so grateful. So it doesn't matter what the dogma or the teaching is. When it comes down to social control and us being controlled, there's a problem there, because I believe as natural citizens of Gaia that we were born free and we get to live free. We're sovereign, and it's so important. Now that I've experienced it, I could never go back to being captivated again.
So so you have the cults, right? So but then you have just people around you, family members and stuff, and these are smaller cults, smaller versions of cults. This word narcissist
Hmm.
has come up a lot, and I heard
Yes,
so many people talk of this word.
yes.
And narcissist is tar-cist. Tar-cist. Sorry, you can hear our puppies in the background. um, tar-cyst is mucus around the tar. And so this is parasitical behavior where you take, and it's all about numbers, and you live off a host. And
Hmm.
this is cult behavior.
Mhm.
And so um, it pushes it. Law of attraction pushes you away from this very quickly. Like you see, you can feel it coming. Like a lot of the time, I can feel it coming, and I go, "Oh, here it comes." They don't even have to say a word. I can feel them coming down the street. I go, "There's one." There's, and it's not that I'm labeling them. It's just I can feel them for where they're at right now, and they might change the next day. So
Mhm.
it's just, I'm just going to call out, see if someone can help our puppies. Hang on.
Well, we're actually getting close to the end of the show. If you want to go rescue them, you go ahead if that's what you want to do because but their sound is not it's not really coming through your microphone. So but I understand if you need to tend to them because they're babies, right? They need you. So
Yeah, it's so funny, everyone says, "Oh, you should be really good at this because you've had so many babies." But when it's different having your own babies, but I've been a nervous wreck having babies because I'm not the mum, she's the
mhm.
mum. So yeah, so I'm always trying to keep them happy and
Yeah.
yeah. I notice a lot of people that we connect with have great love and kindness for their pets as well. This is another thing I notice.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had a lot of love. Frank and Brandon, they all love their cats, and
Yes,
yourself. Yeah,
absolutely.
a lot of cat connection with these people, and it's like they know you know your truth, so they like hanging out with you. This is a good sign.
Hmm.
I
I
I
agree. I agree.
I
And
love this topic today. I love all this talk today because it's myth and truth, which is huge, right? But
hmm
we're bringing it back into a day to day sense,
hmm
how
hmm
to incorporate it and have almost like a plan with the other connections that we have. Like put it into action now rather than it just reacting us. Now we're going, okay, we're going to take all this information today and now use it as a tool to see what we can do.
hmm Absolutely. So, Elsa, before we close the show, do you have any last minute things you want to say to our audience? And also, please tell people where they can find you. The links will be in the description below, but for those on audio, it's nice to hear where they can find you.
Well, we have a website called spinbeings.com, and we also have our YouTube. We have smaller videos so that you can just play the smaller videos and see if you want to go to the longer videos. We've found a lot of people enjoy this. Um, we do sessions as well. If people want to get more personal, we say rather than on big chat groups and things, don't get personal there. We say do a session. Um, Thank you for letting me share that because it's what makes us all keep going, I guess. And we all need backup, which is our spine. We
Hmm
all need backup, and it's not. It's nice. I come wake up in the morning and I'll go, oh, Karen's put a new show up, and I sometimes I can't listen to the whole show, but I seem to come on at the right. I'll just like do a when you spin the globe and you look for a location of a country. That's kind of how I listen to it, your shows, and I go. I always seem to land on the right minute, the right topic, and I go, oh, I just needed to hear that for today, and it's just nice knowing that you're there,
Thank
and
you. Thank you
it
so
is.
much.
It's
And
really
I
nice.
really appreciate your content too. And like you said, you've got a lot of shorts where you've just got basically they're clips of larger shows, so you can get the sort of sense of which of the larger shows you want to go and watch because everybody gets busy. But I love what you have to say and what you bring to humanity as well, Elsa. You've been a real blessing in my life for sure. I really appreciate your honesty and your talent and your creativity. and just your beautiful soul. And you've made my community much richer and more rewarding. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show. It really means a lot to me, and hope to have you back soon and we can talk about more things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all the words today. I'm just going to be, I'll be gardening going, and then she said that. Wow, that meant this. And
Oh, I
so,
mean it. I mean
yeah,
it.
you're like my door. Like, I feel like I've been playful enough and opened up into, all your scrolls as well. So I'm very, very inspired. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. And I want to thank all the viewers and the listeners out there. It means the world to me that you're there. And for those of you who feel inclined, please like the video, share it with your friends. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment so I know that you're out there, because I do care. I really do care about you all. And I want to thank you all for joining us. So I guess that's it for today. And if you have any questions, you can also leave them in the comments, and you can also contact Elsa directly through the links below, or myself. But until next week, we'll say bye-bye, and thank you for joining us on the Quantum Guide Show. Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton, and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.